Happy Black History Month, even though we are not able to celebrate it federally this year, or probably at least for the next 4 years. We'll see what happens. I don't know. With that, you can see by the title, I haven't talked about the steel mill in a while. Sometimes I'm sitting down and things just stories and memories, and you know how it is. Sometimes they just let me move this a little bit closer to me. Let me get in here so I can talk to you. Sometimes when you get older, well, at least for me and any other person who is around my age, you have so many memories that you don't remember them all. Well, I was sitting around, and these past 10 days have been a whirlwind. I remember some things from the steel mill that at the time were not funny. They paid off to be very beneficial to me and others, and it helped a gentleman get a better perspective into Black America. Let's get right into it. I haven't worked for the steel mill for a while. However, when I did work there, it was half white, half black. There was no Spanish, there was no Indian, there was no anything else. What I worked was third shift, and most of the people were either black or white. We had temps. They did hire ex-cons, they hired military, they hired just about everybody. So they were kind of a diverse job market, if you will, but not really. There was a gentleman there, and his name is Greg. I won't give his last name, but his name was Greg. And Greg had always been raised in the same house, in the same city, and come to find out later on, his dad was a Vietnam disabled vet, but my dad was a medic. His dad was a tunnel rat. Both of those are dangerous jobs that do not have a great life expectancy, but somehow these two gritty men made it out of the trenches, made it back, and had us. So we ended up at the same steel mill doing the same dangerous job. What ended up happening was Greg arrived after me, and I had been there a little while. So you go through the training on the different machines, and your job, your job. You go through what your job and description and everything is going to be. We were both burners. Greg didn't really talk to anybody. He would talk to some gentlemen, but he wouldn't talk to other people. So he talked to whites, but he wouldn't talk to the blacks. And he kept looking at us. Funny, so everyone, at first everyone's trying to be lenient. They are trying to get along. He's not part of the group yet. He had not been basically baptized by fire. Nothing had happened. We have to see if we can trust him. He has to see if he can trust us. And then everything, you know how a job goes. Everything usually comes together. Well, it's funny, but it's not funny. We asked him one night, this was probably a month into it. Say, hey, Greg, why do you keep looking at us? And why are you looking when we walk away? He said, my dad told me growing up that after midnight, that black people have tails like Smurfs. And we were eating lunch at that time. We're playing dominoes, and everybody looks up, and we're like, what? And even the white guys were like, what? And he said, yeah, my dad told me that you guys have tails after midnight. Somebody jumps up and he gets mad. I'm messing you up. This is insane. You're a racist and all this other stuff. He said, this is how I was raised. He was like, yeah, do I have some reservations about black people? Yes, because of what I've heard growing up, and I have been picked on and things, but Yeah, I do. So, explain some stuff to me. We calmed the one guy down, and my boss was pretty level headed. His name was Charles. I won't say his last name. I've got to look Charles up. If Charles, if you ever see this, I got to look you up. But my boss was an ex cop. He was pretty level headed, and he said, "Greg, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you with Unc, and I'm gonna put you with another person." So we had to work with Greg for a couple months, teaching him the machines. We obviously have some differences of opinion. Hold on 1 minute. Let me grab some water. We obviously have some differences in how we were raised, differences in opinions. Once we started talking, instead of just trying to mind read everything, and we genuinely started getting to know each other as people instead of a color, Greg found out that we liked a lot of the same things. Greg also found out, as you can see from that first day, black people don't have tails after midnight. His daddy was wrong. So I don't know if your daddy has told you that, or if whoever's listening thinks that. I don't know what your pappy told you, but we don't get tails after midnight. Okay, okay, that's first and foremost. All right, let's get back to the story. The other thing that we had to go over was, he said, I'm not racist. I have black friends. I had a black friend. What do you mean had a black friend? Well, when did you lose him? He said, well, he was 5, and this is a typical story. And anybody who's listening to this point, let me know if you've had this experience, because a lot of people have, but I've had it over and over again. It's just recently stopped, but I got a feeling it's gonna come back here with all the crap that's going on. Okay, so what he said, I had a black friend, but he moved away when he was 5, and it's for some reason it's always 5. He moved away when he was 5, and I never saw him again. And at this time, I'm early 20s. I said, Greg, are you telling me that after 5 years old up until now, there were no other black people that you could have made friends with? And they said, no, not really. My dad's a racist, and he's an asshole. I said, okay, fair enough. So we worked together. I was there almost 8 years. He was there. He stayed for a little while longer. I don't think he's there anymore. But over time, what ended up happening was, I found out that his dad was a tunnel rat. He found out that my dad was a medic. We both liked trucks. We both liked guns. We both liked a lot of the same shows. And before long, me and Greg were really close, and the other guy that my boss put him with, and everybody kind of accepted. Okay. And he's like, we were sitting around lunch one day again playing dominoes, and he's like, hey, thank you guys, because I really thought that everybody was going to be hot headed, and I was going to prove some type of point that my dad had made to me. But everybody's been pretty understanding, and pretty cool. When we get back to the machines, we started talking again. He's like, hey, I wanted to apologize to you about that, for the tail thing a couple months back, and the black friend and everything. But if you ever need anything, let me know. Ended up about a year and a half later, I was getting a divorce. My car had gotten stolen out of the parking lot from that steel mill, and he was the only one that came to help me. Now, I clowned him for a little bit. I have a big truck now, but at the time I didn't have a truck. But he bought this big F-350, and the man came down, loaded my truck up, and helped me move. We're still in contact with each other. He's been a good friend since. Haven't had any problems. Now, all experiences have not been like that, but I have had some very positive experiences with some miscommunication. And a lot of times that's what it is. In our actions as men, sometimes will dictate how people view us. Not everybody. Some people are just dumb. But if both sides are willing to open up and expand their mind, you'll see that we truly all can get along. Commercial break me one more time. So that's my rant. Those two things. And I had heard that before, but I never in life thought that somebody had actually taught their children that after midnight, black people grew tails until the sun rose, like Smurfs. And that they lost a friend at 5, 6 years old, moved away, they never came back, and they never had a chance to make another friend ever in life. Not only did he help me move, but he helped diffuse other situations and talk to some other people who came into the steel mill on some BS, and he wasn't going for it. And it's the same kind of stuff now, because once he figured out that we're all human and that we have some of the same goals, we like some of the same things, and that we have intelligence and that his father was wrong, it made a world of difference. Hey, you can take it either way you want to. Still stood 10 toes down on our beliefs, but just open your mind. That's all I'm asking. That's what I want for my grandson is, when he grows up, when he sees this, open your mind, and you'll find a lot more opportunities sometimes will come your way. With that, again, happy Black History Month. We're going to celebrate harder than we ever have because they're telling us we can't. And when you tell me I can't do something and it's right and it's righteous, I'm going to make sure that I toe the line. So I'm going to try to go 10 toes down this month and celebrate. Now, they also took away a few other holidays from us. They took away Women's Month. They took away the Holocaust Memorial Day. They took away a few things. And just because you take them away off of some website does not mean that we do not need to spread the word and we do not need to spread the love for our fellow countrymen. Whether you're black, white, purple, green, I don't care what it is. Always remember who you are. And with that, Big Unc out.